All right. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, and everyone on the live stream. Good morning, and welcome to the most impactful youth led online event, Youth for SDGs. And this is a very special edition. It is the Youth for SDGs Environment and the Pandemic Edition. So, are you ready to go on with this amazing event? Okay, so my name is Rin, and I will be your MC for this event. This is our first time becoming on an online event, but as you may know, that Youth for SDGs has already been operating for a while, and it is an academic event for students in year 10 to year 13, like grade 9 to grade 12, which is like so young to learn about the importance, to learn the importance of the the sustainable development goals, and which is set by the United Nations. And this is how they are able to work towards the goal and make a difference. And we are so amazed, like we are so touched that we have received all the amazing responses. And this event normally spans across 2 days, enabling students from different schools across Thailand to collaborate, communicate, and work on the problem solving skills. And by participating in our three main activities, and this year we are transforming ourselves from the basic, like from the just the SDG quest, the breakout sessions, and the case challenge to become an online version. And so if you join the real event, you will find out that we'll have the quest like fun activities, interactive, to have you like engage in all the areas that we would like to expand the knowledge across. And also there will be like breakout sessions where you will get to learn and discuss in a thoughtful manner among small groups of students who share the same thoughts, like how things will be and what do you think about the certain ideas about the SDGs. And we also have the case challenge. Like after you go through the discussions, you'll be able to bring in the knowledge and the thoughts and put it into the case to crack and pitch your innovative solutions to the world. And the case, like the chosen case, will be selected, and you'll get to pitch. And if your ideas are noticed and our judges see how valuable it is, and you will get to go through, and you can actually have your project launched in real life, and you'll get to see how it turns out. And not only does this event require students to work collaboratively, but it will also allow a friendly competition, because the winner of the case challenge will receive the C capital as mentioned to create this small scale implementation. And not only just us, but also everyone here that joined this Youth for SDGs will get to have a stage to voice out their opinion. But this year, the main conference will take place in February. So just stay tuned and on our Facebook and Instagram at Youth for SDGs to ensure you're up to date. And if you want to join us, just scan the QR code to check us out. All right, so as mentioned, that these are that there will be lots of activities, right? But this is a special edition. So the quest, the breakout sessions, and the discussions are to be waited for the real main event. But this is a special version. So you might ask, what is this event actually is? Well, this event is called Youth for SDGs Environment and Pandemic Edition, right? So it is, well, this is a youthless case challenge competition that focuses on the advocacy during the new normal post-advocacy, like in this post-pandemic world. So unlike the main event that I've just introduced you before, this online version will be substituted like the discussions with 6-episode interview, a very special interview series focusing on waste management, air quality, energy conservation, medical waste, and also advocacy during lockdown. The case challenge are divided into 3 separate categories: waste management and medical waste, energy conservation and accessibility, and the air quality. And so overall, we were incredibly impressed with the different suggested solutions submitted, with 49 teams from 5 countries and 179 participants. We have like the participants from Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos, and the Philippines. So I guess you can say that being online event makes our world smaller. And well, the use for SDGs expands the asset level. And it is such an incredible opportunity that will not happen if our partner, without the support of our partners, UNDP, Starboard, Green, the Youth Force, the Philippines, and also ASEAN Youth Organization. So thank you very much for supporting this event. And with that, with that said, I'd like to extend our thanks to everyone who joined, not just our partner, but also you participants, the change makers. And even so, if you're watching this live, not participating as the case or as the participants, we are surely hope that this event will truly inspire some of you to just start your own versions or to create your own change the way you like it. And now, this event, we have been through a lot of things. As mentioned, that we have the discussions substituted with the podcast. Yes, Youth for SDGs podcast. We have 6 different episodes across all the 3 topics. And like we have. So, all right, some of the podcasts are not like, okay, so like the first version, it is like an introduction of like the whole episodes of how this Youth for SDGs episode will turn out like. And so the first one, we talk about the environment post-pandemic world with our guest speaker, our lovely guest speaker, Ms. Risa Okada, Educational Initiative Department from Green International. And so we learn about how things changes. And from this, it's just the beginning of how our path will just continue. So we continue on with the second episode, which is the episode on the waste management topic, which is also one of the topic for our case challenge. And we also we are honored to have our 2 guest speakers, Ms. Tasmin Chilcott from the Environmental Manager, Starboard and Trash Hero Bangkok, and Dr. Wayne N. Phillips, lecturer in ecology and conservation, Mahidol University International College. And now moving on to the next topic, as mentioned, we have 3 topics for the case challenge, right? The third episode is on energy conservation. We have our lovely guest speakers, Dr. Narisa Ra, the Senior Technology Transfer Manager, former Technology Analyst Manager in SCG Chemicals, and also Dr. Narisa Ra from the Project Manager from SCG Chemicals. Yes. Also, we have the next topic. As mentioned, this is another topic for our case challenge, which is on air quality. In this episode, we learn about what the effects and things are like from our lovely guest speaker once again, Professor Saman Chomchai, professor at Department of Preventive and Social Medicine, focusing on toxicology, air quality hazards, directly related to this topic. And so if you learn about this topic, you will get to include some of the knowledge into your case for sure. But not just that. After we learn about these 3 topics, we also move on to I think this is a very interesting episode we have, which is the advocacy during pandemic, which is how youths are cope up or how we can contribute to the change and the new normal lifestyles, and to also serve how to save the world as well. And we have our lovely another guest speaker, Ms. Matsumi Adachi, founder of Sang Foundation. So thank you very much for being our guest speakers. And not last but not least, episode 6. Oh, well, some episodes are not in each topic, but overall, that is how things are supposed to be. And after going through that, we get to learn, we get to discuss. Those are a strong foundation we can continue on to our case challenges. And right now, today, in this event, we are here in the final round with 3 teams in each category, but there can only be one winner. And the categories, as mentioned, are air quality, energy conservation, and accessibility, and also waste management and medical waste. So from this from this case challenge, there can only be one winner for each category. And the winner, of course, will receive a very special gift from our lovely partner, UNDP. And there will also be one surprise special award. And you will also receive a 30-minute feedback and mentorship session from a judge as well. Basically, after if you win this competition, you will get a seed capital and also a place to start a guideline how to start your own project and continue to make a change in our society. And that is such a lovely opportunity. And I just want to remind every finalist here that you have an equal chance of winning. And so get ready and be your best. And before we continue on to our whole, like to our pitching and finals and everything, I'd like to start off the event by presenting you a video of Kun Renan Mayor, a UNDP resident representative in Thailand, to give an opening statement. So,
Good morning, everyone. My name is Renaud Meyer, and I'm the UNDP representative in Thailand. It gives me great pleasure to not be physically with you this morning, but to be able to join you on this conference call for the Youth for SDGs Environment and the Pandemic Edition, organized by Youth for SDGs, Prima, and her team, with whom we're always very happy to collaborate. The first thing I want to say is a big welcome to all of you for this, what is ultimately a competition, but it's also a great gathering of young for sustainable development and key issues that we are confronted with, not only here in Thailand, but also around the world. And a special mention for those young people coming from countries other than Thailand, and congrats for Youth for SDGs for having expanded the geographic scope of this competition and initiative. The theme that brings us together this morning, environment and the pandemic, is of course extremely important and timely. And the three issues that you have been given and for which you have submitted your concepts, your ideas, are all extremely important. Waste management, especially medical waste, we can imagine that this is a bigger challenge more than ever. We know that, for example, the plastic consumption, which is creating so much trouble to our environment, has significantly increased due to food delivery and also the PPE equipment, which is mostly made of plastic material. So that's a big problem for local authorities, but for the population at large. The second topic on air pollution is, of course, well known here in Thailand, the famous PM 2.5. Every year we have this problem, and we have seen how the pandemic has significantly reduced the problem. Now the challenge, of course, is how do we maintain this lower level of air pollution when hopefully very soon the economy will rebound. So we need to think of new models of economic development that have a smaller carbon footprint with less emissions, so that we learn also the lessons of this crisis. And the third topic on energy conservation and accessibility, we all know that development with access to energy simply does not happen. Right? We need energy sources, and we really need to ensure that ideally we get this energy from renewable sources. This is a big challenge in Asia. In Thailand, we know that we depend too much on coal, and we need to really find a solution to stop this addiction to coal-generated energy, and while ensuring, of course, not only accessibility but affordability of energy. So you have grappled over the past few weeks with three very, very important topics. Congratulations to those of you who are still in the competition. I understand there's already been a selection of initiatives, of concepts, so you've made it that far. But as I said earlier, this is ultimately a competition, and even if participation is great, and I'm sure a great experience and a learning experience for all of you, there has to be winners. There's no losers, but there has to be winners. There will be one winner per topic, and I think it will be quite exciting because we will be able to provide further accompaniment to those three concepts through coaching, through mentoring, through ideally upscaling your idea. And I hope that at least this exercise will have strengthened your motivation, strengthened your commitment, so that all the young people out there, and you are great examples of that, role models for them, they continue to engage increasingly on sustainable development matters, and that this crisis, how painful it has been, will not be in vain, and we will all learn, young and less young people, our lessons from a pre-COVID period to a new normal that we have to define all together, and where sustainability has to be at the heart. So I wish you a very, very productive morning and final stages of this competition. I hope that you still have a lot of fun doing it. And I wish you all the best, and see you very soon. Take care, all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reynold, for the lovely opening remarks. And even though he cannot be here in this live room with us, he still share his thoughts and also contribute to continue to support Youth for SDGs. So thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce you to our judges who will be watching and listening to all the live stream and all the final pitches and having worked so hard for this event. And so our first judge is Mr. Yawati Achawangkoon, Senior Mechanical Engineer, Department of Alternative Energy Development and Efficiency, Ministry of Energy, Thailand. Also, our next judge is Mr. Yusuke Taichi, Nature, Climate, and Energy Team Leader for the Asia Pacific region. Also, we have another honorable judge is Mr. Chris Osterich, Circular Economy Consultant, publisher of Wicked Problems Collaborative, University Lecturer at School of Global Studies at Thammasat University, and also co-founder of Circular Design Lab. And also, our last but not least, our judges, Miss Suksawui Gertiamjan, founder of Zero Waste Laos, Global Green Growth Institute Associate. And so our four judges will be supporting us and will be hearing through all the pitches throughout the event. And with that, I've mentioned about the special awards at the beginning, and there will be also a very special award for the air quality winners. The air quality categories will be presenting their project on the 23rd September in the event called here from 2.5 to 0. And so now that we meet the judges, we'd like to start off with the first topic, which is air quality. Just remember, you also have the gifts and also the advices. From if you win this, you will get the prize, and you will also get a chance to pitch your project and present at this amazing event. All right, if you're ready, let's. Before I start off with any of the presentation, I'd like to remind you again about the rules of this final pitch. I'm sure that you all heard about the briefings, but please keep in mind that you have like 10 minutes to present your solutions, and your liaison will remind you on the times, on the private messages, on the line group. So please keep in mind and please check your case as well. Okay. So and so also please, your mic will be muted after the 10 minutes. So please make sure you manage the time wisely, because this is like your only time to get your thoughts out. And after your time is up, you'll also have a Q&A session for 5 minutes. I'll be reminded after, like for the last question. So please wrap up within the time as well. And for the team that work on other topics, please wait for their time slot patiently. And you can also watch live stream to hear about other teams' ideas on Youth for SDGs Facebook. Okay, and that will be all for the rules. And if you're ready, let's start with the first topic, which is air quality. Okay, let me introduce a little bit about the challenge that we have challenged the participants in this topic. Because we've seen that in this COVID-19 situation, all the vehicles that hinder air quality have been significantly reduced, and industrial activities around the globe have been decreasing and therefore improving the air quality on a global scale. The recent decrease in greenhouse gas and carbon dioxide emissions may potentially save 3 million individuals from dying due to poor air quality. Malaysia is an example of this. The country saw drastic changes in levels of NO2, and the capital of Kuala Lumpur experienced about 60% of reduction. So while Selangor province had a 40% of reduction of NO2, which is why automobile emissions is one of the main causes of pollution the country faces. And when we see how we reduce the use of that and things are getting better, other countries have also experienced such a drastic drops in air pollutants due to the pandemic. And so with this happens, scientists have concluded that the lockdown has potentially affected air quality and air pollution. And so our participants are tasked with finding the solution to this air quality hazard, be it direct elimination of the source or behavioral intervention. Students are encouraged to create sustainable solution to unprecedented issues. It is getting better, but can it become the best version of the situation right now? And so we know that this won't be easy, but there will be always be the way. And right now, let's give it the stage to the first team in this air quality sessions. So if you're ready, Team Aerate. Okay, I see that you're now ready. So please take it away.
Thank you. So, don't you just hate Bangkok traffic sometimes?
Yeah, especially when transportation takes forever for me to go to tutoring. Not to mention the traffic exhaust and dust particles that come with it too.
I know, right? And I go tutoring 3 times a week, so it's even more inconvenient for me and my family.
If only there was a way for us to receive education and not hurt the environment at the same time. Good morning, everyone. My name is Proud.
My name is Fa.
And I'm Mina.
And our team is Aerate. So let's start with the background of the problem.
All right, so now let's see what our solution aims to address. To start off, the yearly average of PM 2.5 air quality in Bangkok has been increasing. The graph on the left shows that Bangkok has one of the most severe air pollution problems in the world, and it is only increasing. So on the graph on the bottom, you can see that the tutoring industry is also something that has been increasing. The purple line represents a 69% growth in the tutoring industry in Bangkok. With this being said, the air quality problem in Thailand is undoubtedly caused by traffic and engine exhaust, which can be harmful for people of all ages, especially those who are vulnerable to respiratory diseases such as people with asthma, the elderly, or children and pregnant women. Next slide, please. So here are the statistics of increasing tutoring schools. So on the graph on the left, you can see from 2007 to 2013, there has been a 117% increase in the tutoring schools in Bangkok, in Thailand especially. So this is proof that the tutoring industry is continuously growing and that our solution, which involves the tutoring industry, is going to be sustainable. Next slide, please. So now let's address the status quo. As mentioned by Professor Samon in his podcast about air quality during the pandemic, it is obvious that with people going out less, the amount of engine exhaust has decreased. However, that is not long-term and sustainable. And as soon as quarantine is over, the problem is going to rise again. Therefore, we want to freeze this perk of quarantine, and we want to continue it. Therefore, our solution aims to aid this process of keeping the air quality at a stable rate as what it is right now and what it has been during quarantine. Students already got used to online schooling. Therefore, this can help in adapting to our new normal concept. Next slide, please. So these are the main factors that contribute to our solution, which is the excessive amount of engine exhaust that we aim to minimize, and also the fact that 500,000 students in Thailand invest in tutoring is very promising that our platform is going to thrive. Also, our solution is an easy to access platform that benefits both the tutor and the student, which Proud is going to tell you about in the next slide.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so our solution is tutor, education in your area. Next slide, please. So first, here's the concept of our solution. So as Mina mentioned before, we as students living in Thailand found out this problem about air pollution, and then we made connections to tutoring institutions. So although children are the main people who go do tutoring, this also involves the tutors themselves and also the family and parents who drive their children to tutoring very often, especially here in Bangkok. So we found tutor to be a feasible, economical, and sustainable solution because our concept is to start an online platform to connect tutors and existing tutoring platforms to students in order to try and decrease engine exhaust, which, as Mina mentioned, greatly contributes to the air pollution problem. So next slide, please. Okay, so here is our website prototype. So our goal is not only to connect students to tutors and allow for a centralized tutoring platform, but also to teach students about how they are helping the air quality pollution situation by doing online learning instead of going to a brick and mortar school and driving and causing more traffic pollution. So as you can see in our website prototype, we can let them register and then we'll give them entertaining ways to show how they're helping with the air pollution situation in Bangkok, such as having challenges, mini quizzes, and showing them graphs of how they are helping us by using our platform. Next slide, please. So here are some features of Tutor that allows us to stand out from our other existing platforms. So we know from our own experiences tutoring during the pandemic that some tutors do use things such as Zoom or Skype. However, those pose a problem for us because they are not specific to the tutoring or education, and some tutors might not want to use it because it kind of interferes with their social aspects of media. So that's why we have things designed specifically for online classroom use that they don't have in other platforms for online communication. So we'll have things such as multiple choice and short answer quiz pop-ups, whiteboards, or student polls. Also, to facilitate a larger amount of students, we'll have two options for students. So we'll have pre-recorded classes if students prefer doing that in their own time, or if students like live classes, we'll also have tutors that specifically do live classes as well. And another thing would be a calendar feature because Tutor plans to have a variety of subjects for a variety of age groups. We'll have a calendar feature so that students can track which tutors are available when and see how many tutors there are for each topic. And another thing, again, that makes us stand out is that because there are tutoring platforms that exist, Tutor tries to implement all of it together by having things such as, for example, for kids, we'll also have like language, STEM activities, academics, and possibly music. But also, another thing of our target would be for expats living in Thailand in order to learn language and culture, which will be really helpful for us and also reach a larger target group. Next slide, please.
Okay, so now that we have addressed the issue and our solution, I would like just to point out a few of the goals that we're going to be tackling. So goal number 3, which is good health and well-being. Goal number 4, quality education. And goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. These tie in together by helping the students and the tutors themselves. Of course, we're going to be reducing climate change as well by helping with minimizing the greenhouse effect and life on land. With the improvement of air quality has come the improvement of quality of life. Next slide, please. So this is our implementation timeline. So on August 15, we have already turned in our Use for SDG submission project. On September 15, we'll begin programming and setting up the platform. On October 1st, we'll initiate partnership with tutoring schools and tutors. And November 1st, we'll launch the platform. Up until December 1st, we'll gain user feedback and experience. And with those information, we'll use it to improve and upscale the project on January 1st, 2021. Next slide, please. For our finances, since our platform is online, it means that the cost that we have to pay for managing the website and hiring the admins will be significantly less than if it was to be in real life where the students have to travel to a specific place. The tutors will be paid directly by students as well. So we do not have to concern ourselves with the transactional process. And we will have an option open for tutors to post ads of their own. This is a way for us to sustain our platform since most of the money that we'll be using is for hiring the admins at first. And then we'll continue to sustain ourselves by getting paid from tutors to post their own ads. Next slide, please. Application in post-pandemic society. So many students have already been doing online learning for some time now, so during quarantine. So this change will not be drastic and can easily be acclimated into the post-pandemic society. It's easy for us to the students to just turn their tutoring onto online. Okay, next slide, please. And for future developments, I've already mentioned that we'll get upgrades from user feedback mentioned in the timeline. And Tutor has a potential to expand the whole of Thailand, even globally. So this project is very much scalable. So I'd just like to end by saying, would you want to go to education?
Or do you want education to come to you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Air Raid, for your presentation. Tutor is a very interesting ideas, and I'm sure the judges also have the questions to ask you. And so I'd like to begin the 5 minutes Q&A session right now. So please, if the judges, if you have the questions, you can ask right now.
Okay, so let me go first. I think I'm the focal judge for this topic. I think in the earlier slide, you mentioned that 500,000 students are engaged in tutoring or something in demand for tutoring. My question is, did you actually compare the amount of emission or exhaustion that tutoring-based traffic is contributing to the overall Bangkok traffic? I would like to get a sense of how much reduction we can achieve in the grand scheme of things when you look at the overall Bangkok traffic that this initiative can contribute to. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the question. This will be something that we will consider in future developments. However, we don't have a specific number for that. However, what we know from our research is that tutor, because we are connecting the tutor problem to the traffic problem, Bangkok traffic and gas carbon emissions is the thing that is suffocating the air quality right now. Therefore, we believe that it is a big change if we could change the status quo in order for students to instead use cars and vehicles to go to places and then instead stay at home and do online learning instead. We don't have a substantial number for that. However, we will be able to provide it for you, but we think that it will be a big difference and help Bangkok greatly.
Great, thank you very much. We still have time for another question, so please.
I can ask one. I teach at a university here in Bangkok,
Mhm.
And my students are begging me to get them back into the classroom because they feel that that is a better environment for learning. We do a lot of online quizzes, breakout discussions, whiteboards, case studies. We try to make it as active. It's an active learning program to begin with. We try to make it as active online as it is offline. Um, what is it that you will be doing to try to really engage students so that you can attract a large number of them to the online platform?
Hi, so thank you for your question. I definitely understand as a student how I would want to be in a classroom environment. But with that being said, there are a variety of different activities that we can incorporate into our program to make it more interactive between students and teachers in the same way you would have in a classroom environment. For example, different games or activities like Kahoot, if you are aware of that. And we can implement it onto our platform in a social distance way and keep it going even after the pandemic is over.
Yeah, like I mentioned, like Nina mentioned, I also feel like the online learning, as you mentioned, a lot of students were not used to the concept of online learning in the beginning of quarantine. However, people have begun to be used to the environment, and teachers have begun having ways in order to make online learning more effective for everyone. And I believe that through time, now that the status quo is changing, in order to change air pollution problems as well, we can continue with the online learning. And then because our platform has different features as well, we can try to make the traditional learning experience the same, or even maybe online learning would be even better in the future. Yes.
Also, I would like to add on that if we want to see change, then we have to create change ourselves. So this means that we need to step out of our own comfort zone in order for change to happen.
All right. And due to our time limit, and that will be the last question. So thank you very much, Team Arid, for giving us your presentation and also the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
All right, then. So thank you very much. And that is our first team. Our dear judges here right now must have had a hard time now. And now we are moving on to the next team. The project is called Straw Alcohol. And I'm just wondering what is it really about? And so I won't be able to talk about it myself. So let us invite the team to talk about this project. So, are you here already? Strawcohol. Is it like strawberries and alcohol, right? Strawberries team. Okay, let's hear from the team. Please take it away.
Okay. Good morning, dear judges and fellow contestants. We are Team Strawberries, and our project is Strawcohol. So, my name is Memo, and our teammate is Chogun, Khan, and LK. And we are a team that strives to improve the air quality of Thailand and globally. The problem of air pollution may seem far out of your reach, but in all honesty, it's us humans that are causing all these troubles. Whether it would be car exhaust, industrial combustion, agricultural side effects, or even home cooking, they all contribute in polluting our atmosphere. As a team from Thailand, we agree it would be reasonable to start small and figure out how to repair the damage we've done. Next slide, please. So let's start with a bit of background about Thailand. As many of you might already know, rice is a major economic crop of Thailand and as well as a vital staple. According to one of Thailand's leading financial institutes, Krungsri, Thailand is ranked second for global rice export. But what does rice have anything to do with air pollution? Well, the problem here is after harvest, rice straws are not utilized by farmers and are viewed as unprofitable. So what do? Well, they burn them. Even though Thai farmers acknowledge the existence of other alternatives to burning rice straws, most of them still prefer to use the simplest and most effective method without really considering the negative effects of their actions. The major consequence of burning rice straws is that it emits greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, which intensifies the ongoing problem of global warming. Next slide, please. In 2019, Thailand was the 7th most polluted country in the world, and the pollution reduces life average expectancies by 2 years. Local governments attempt to promote environmental protection, but despite the statistics and local government urges, Thailand's government still chooses to focus solely on economic stability and growth instead of environmental protection. Next slide, please. So in 2020, prior to the COVID-19 crisis, Bangkok's air quality index had a high PM 2.5 level, rising up to 180 micrograms per cubic meters. And this has been a recurring pattern in Bangkok for the past few years. These high PM 2.5 levels are mainly a result of agricultural burning. People became more concerned with the air quality they are breathing in and started wearing masks. However, because of this global pandemic, the air quality index had a PM 2.5 level of only 53 micrograms per cubic meter in mid-April 2020. This level is considered to be moderate quality and is a major improvement from levels that frequently exceeded 100 between January and March. Nevertheless, as the lockdown requirements and quarantine come to an end, the PM 2.5 levels has become as high as 71 micrograms per cubic meter and is going to continue to rise back once to the level it was before again. Therefore, we have to find ways to stop the cycle from continuing on in the future. Next slide, please.
So what is the problem? Well, farmers keep burning rice straws. And why is that? Because for the first reason, is the cheapest way and the most effective way to get rid of rice straws. And the second way is that straws are unprofitable. There's no value in them. And that's why the farmers keep burning them and destroying out the environment that we live in Thailand. Next slide, please.
The solution to our problem is transforming the straw that would normally be burned by transforming it into alcohol instead. We're going to turn the wasteful straws into a product that would be popular and benefit people during the post-pandemic world, which is ethanol alcohol. We're converting the wasteful straw into gel alcohol hand sanitizer. Next slide, please. So we're going to be converting the wasteful straws into gel alcohol hand sanitizer by genetically modifying yeast, which would be able to naturally break down rice straw into ethanol without requiring any other processes. So the container that we'll be using to put our gel alcohol hand sanitizer in will be made from biodegradable plastic. So the results of this would be increasing the incomes for farmers as we'll be buying straws from the farmers. And also we'll be transforming the waste that is created into a beneficial product to society. And also we're also going to be transforming it into a product that has potential in a variety of ways. Next slide, please. So the SDGs addressed from our product of transforming straws into alcohol gel hand sanitizer, which is alcohol, is no poverty, as we'll be buying straws from farmers, which will help their income, good health and well-being, as using a hand sanitizer will lead to being more sanitized, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, and life on land. Next slide, please.
As for our implementation timeline, development of the genetically modified yeast will take about 3 years, and testing will take another further 3 to 7 months. Campaigning will take us 3 to 5 months, and then we'll begin our mass production, which will take about 3 to 4 months. We will be able to release our product in the fall of 2024. After that, we plan to develop our straw gasohol, and the release date is yet to be determined. Next slide, please. Our target consumer primarily consists of 3 groups: people who live in Bangkok and the surrounding areas, hospital and clinics, and people who are concerned about their health and safety. As for our product itself, it is made from 3 materials: biodegradable plastic, genetically modified yeast, and straw, which will be used for both the packaging and the hand sanitizing gel. The product cost for each 50 milliliter bottle will be 3.84 baht, with 0.47 being for the biodegradable plastic and the other 3.37 baht for the rice straw. If our research, which we estimate to cost 300,000 baht, is successful, we will be able to mass produce the genetically modified yeast for free, which will play a significant role in minimizing our costs. As for the advertisement part, we will mainly advertise our product through social media platforms. Next slide, please. Our total profit for each bottle will be 46.16 baht, and we will break even once we have sold 6,500 bottles. Most importantly, our customers will not only contribute to preserving the environment when purchasing our product, they will also be helping with the growth of local communities. As for our research, we want to get funded by the government so that we are able to speed up our development stage. However, if we don't succeed in doing so, we want to acquire the support from private enterprises that are willing to invest in an environmentally friendly startup company like ours. Next slide, please.
So, application in post-pandemic society. As you all know, ethanol alcohol has many applications, which makes it such a valuable resource. If our project is authorized and is funded by the government, we hope to. Oh wait, after the it is expected that the hazardous air quality will return. By get rid of all the stores, and lowering the chance of severe forest fires. Rather than burning the rice straws, by using this method, we could utilize it to its full potential by converting it to ethanol, which could become an additional source of income for the farmers. Ethanol alcohol sanitizer will be an essential item for everyone as people adapt to the new normal lifestyle. Next slide, please. So for future development, as you all know, ethanol alcohol has many applications, which makes it such a valuable resource. If our project is authorized and is funded by the government, we hope to develop the product by using it as a component of gasohol. The benefit of this is that it reduces incomplete combustion, which produces harmful gases such as carbon monoxide, which is not human nor environmental friendly. Therefore, we are looking forward to use ethanol that is obtained from the rice straws to manufacture gasoil and compete in the automobile industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is very on time. Thank you so much for your presentation. And this is a very interesting idea of how you combine all the ideas together. And so I'm sure all the judges have the questions as well regarding this topic. So I'd like to start this Q&A session right now. If you have any questions, please ask away.
I have a question. Okay, thank you very much, student, for your interesting and informative information. I have 2 questions to ask you. The first question is that I would like to know about your opinion how to keep the sustainability to the local economy, such as the farmer, because that according to the facts, the profit from the trading of the agricultural product or the biomass will be go to the middleman, whereas the farmer will obtain the less benefit from the difference of the profit between the upstream and the downstream. And the second question that recently that we have the trend to increase the to introduce about the utilization of the electrical electrical vehicle in Thailand, and whereas it means that the utilization of the internal combustion engine will be decreased in the future. How do you think in order to produce the ethanol to blend with the gasohol for the transportation sector, how did you? I want to know about your idea that to keep the sustainability in this matter.
Okay, thank you for your question. For the first question, we would like to cut out the middleman in this process and connect with local communities in order to purchase directly from them. We are planning to target specific communities in rural provinces and buy the rice straws from them and be a constantly buy from the same sources so that they have an sustainable source of income.
Okay, for the second question, I think you're talking about how gasohol will be sustainable and the problem it has with combustion. Am I correct?
In my opinion, this means that the electrical vehicle, because that the electrical vehicle will have the amount in the future, it means, and on the other hand, the gasohol utilization for the transport, especially for in the ordinary car, will be decreased. It will depend how do you think that about your idea to maintain and to keep the utilization of the ethanol for the transportation sector.
Okay, thank you for your question. We understand that in the future, electrical cars will be in usage. However, it would take a pretty long time before gasohol will not be used anymore in transportation systems because many other things require gasohol. And yeah, so if there's an alternative such as electrical cars and gasohol cars, I think electrical cars would have a higher price and it would be harder to obtain. However, gasohol is more for the majority, and I think that people would still choose to use gasohol for a while, like many years before electrical cars would come into handy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's all for me.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left, so for the last question, can be very brief as well.
Okay, can I ask a question? Very brief. In your costing calculation, did you include the cost of collecting raw materials from local farmers?
The straw price that thank you for your question. And the straw price that we calculated was from looking at the price which the farmers usually sell the straw at. And we calculated that the amount that we will have to use cost the price that we determine it to be. So yes, that takes into account the straw that has to be harvested by the farmers.
Okay, then.
Question?
Well, okay, so I guess we have about 15 seconds left. So I'd like to conclude this Q&A session for now. So thank you very much, Team Strawberries, for presenting your project, Strawcohol. It is an extremely interesting ideas, and hopefully you will get to go on and proceed to the next stage. So thank you very much. Okay, and so next we will proceed on to the last team, the last finalist in the first topic, which is air quality. And the project is Eco Air. Well, now all the three finalists have different ideas, like from tutor to alcohol. Now we have Eco Air, and let's learn about their project. I'm sure the clubbers are ready to present their case. So please take it away.
Hi, judges. So my name is Anna.
I'm Julie.
I'm Laura.
I'm Sophia.
And we would like to start off this presentation by saying that our team is truly honored to be here to share our ideas and thoughts with you regarding air quality levels in both our city and as a larger society. We would also like to say thank you for allowing our team to move into the finals of this competition, as AQI is a subject that is very close to our hearts, which we seek to rectify as we move forward. Next slide, please.
Needless to say, air pollution is one of the biggest crises that we humans are currently facing. More than 9 out of 10 of the world's population, 92%, lives in places where air pollution exceeds safe limits, according to research from the WHO, or the World Health Organization. Many of these people will go on to suffer from pollution-induced health problems. This is what we strive to find a solution for, to not only benefit humanity, our young and future generations, but also the other inhabitants of this planet, whom we share our home with, and the planet itself, a host to a symphony of living beings. With our app, we encourage the masses to quit producing so many carbon emissions and nudge them to try and become carbon neutral, achieving net zero carbon dioxide emissions by balancing carbon emissions with carbon removal, or even eliminating carbon emissions completely. Next slide, please.
We believe that widespread awareness is crucial for people to become more active, taking charge against the effects air pollution has on us, both individually, as a society, and our fauna and flora, especially considering we live in a city with one of the worst air quality ratings in the world. Our goal is to raise awareness and explain the fundamentals of air quality, what it is, what the causes are, and how people can help to make our world a safer place for each and every one of us. If you are unsure about how you can help, we have come up with a new solution that we hope will be helpful and instructive for everyone, which we will be giving more information about in our upcoming slides. Next slide, please.
There are many ways to reduce air quality, some of them being using more sustainable methods of transportation, avoid burning trash and rubbish. Especially in Thailand, many farmers burn crops to create more space for growing new crops, reduce or eliminate fireplace and wood stove use, avoid using gas-powered lawn and garden equipment. These are just some of the many ways that you can take to improve air quality and to reduce air pollution overall. Next slide, please.
To show the statistics about about air quality, we decided to write a page on our website. Sorry, can you go to the next slide? Sorry. Sorry, can you go back 2 slides? I think we're in the... Yes,
okay.
Sorry. So we decided to write a page on our website and make an infographic that is easy to look at. The one on the right is on our website, and the one on the left is the infographic, both of which are made by different members in our team. To summarize the website, it highlights how if we don't act soon against carbon emissions, then we will be in great trouble, while the infographic highlights more facts and statistics about carbon emissions. Next slide, please.
Our group came up with the initial idea of designing an app, which helps reduce carbon emissions from cars. Although we do realize that air pollution is the product of not only this action, but also many other human activities, we decided to solely focus on emissions from transportation. This is because Bangkok alone has 9.7 million automobiles and motorbikes, and an automobile emits around 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per annum. This means that Bangkok emits over 44 million metric tons in just 1 year. Next slide, please.
EcoAir monitors your daily activities and uses numerous algorithms while accounting for all probable variables to calculate an approximate estimate of the amount of particulate matter released into the atmosphere through your actions. The app will then relay your data back to you in percentages, displaying your daily emissions throughout the week. There is also the exciting opportunity to interact with your friends online, to compare and compete with data and complete mini challenges. Next slide, please.
Using various algorithms and data, our app will have a pie chart that will display your recent activities and how this affects your daily level of carbon emission. The app will provide tips on how you can cut back on your emissions based on your pattern of behavior. More charts can be displayed to compare your results with other days and other people, such as your friends. A map can also be shown with all the possible transportation routes and how you can get from point A to point B with a minimum release of carbon emissions. Our app can also be personalized to limit emissions of a large corporation or a single person. Next slide, please.
Our app will encourage people all around Thailand to start using more methods of transportation that decrease their carbon footprint. This little nudge in the right direction can make a huge difference in the long run. Not only does it encourage individuals, it also works for larger organizations, such as schools. We would be able to see which areas, and more specifically, which schools are doing their job to reduce carbon emissions. Next slide, please.
Cost. When establishing the cost for our app, we have to take the following factors into consideration, such as app development timescale/duration, so how long it will take to create our app, promoting and advertising, how user-friendly and perspicuous the app is, so meaning that it gives the audience a clearer understanding of how it works and how they can contribute to the cause, engageability with audience, and reliability, meaning that there will be several test runs to ensure user satisfaction. Next slide, please.
When we first made this timeline, we didn't take into consideration how much our app would cost. However, we will be keeping the same.
Sorry, could you please go to the next slide? Yeah.
However, we will be keeping the same similar timeline. We plan to take a month to make the app. After that, we would show it to a practice audience, such as yourselves. After they get a feel of how it works for a month, we will ask them if there were any bugs, or if there's anything they wanted to add to improve our carbon neutralization, and we would make those changes. This development would take another month or so, and after that, we plan to open it to the public. Next slide, please.
There are sizable differences in app development budgets depending on whether companies receive funding from shareholders and investors. However, our app can be made both minimally and independently with a minute budget of under $1,000. This is reasonable when considering the perilous environmental impacts that our company seeks to rectify, and also our target audience. We would individually promote the app and give incentives on the app for other users to do so too. Next slide, please.
We plan to raise using fundraisers similar to the ones in our school that we use to raise money for charities. Everyone can come in wearing anything green to show their support for the Go Green movement and donate 100 baht each. This will then allow us to follow our implementation timeline to ensure a successful launch of our app. Donations we receive from the fundraisers will finance the development and advertisement of our app, as will the expenses from installations of the app, which will be 100 baht. Despite this, however, we remain a strictly non-profit organization by keeping the purchasing price at a minimum. This will make our product more accessible to all, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Next slide, please.
Our team strongly assumes that after the COVID-19 lockdown, people will start paying more attention to their carbon footprint and applying even more effort as to how they can reduce it, as the effects of doing so have been so widely documented over social media, such as lakes becoming cleaner and animals returning to their habitat. Some, if not everyone, has noticed the silver lining that has occurred during the pandemic. It is vital that we as a society continue this management to restore damaged ecosystems to their prime by recognizing the positive results to our decreased use of carbon-emitting transportation.
If time permits and our app is successful, we hope to further develop our app to display data to an organization as a whole, for example, our school. We aim to output this data to numerous institutions and expand our target audience. In addition to this, a feature could be created to analyze the air quality of an area and produce an adequate air quality level. All of these edits seek to help our users understand how we are improving the planet, including small-scale tasks. As our project starts to expand to a larger variety of users, we expect that people will start to take these actions in their stride, no longer relying on our app. Despite this, we expect our app to help motivate people who may need motivation to kickstart their new lifestyle change, inspiring others to do so.
Finally, we would like to end this presentation by saying thank you to the judges for allowing us this opportunity to present our ideas and for listening us present, because watching 9 groups presenting on a Saturday morning is probably not what you want and how you want to relax. And we really do hope that you take into consideration what we have said and help us make our future better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team The Clovers, for presenting. And well, this is truly an interesting, and I would say it's pretty entertaining to watch all the presentations. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And now it's time to to move on to the Q&A sessions for 5 minutes. So if any judges, if you want to ask the question, you can also raise your hands. Okay, so Mr. Yusuke Taichi, okay, so please ask away.
Yeah, thanks. I have a couple of questions. Well, thank you for the great presentation, and it was truly interesting to listen to your presentation. Just one question about a feature in the app. Are you going to present potential reduction of emissions by using alternative actions rather than just showing emissions from continuing with your current action? So that's one question.
Yes, we want to have the projections for alternative routes and travel and transportation, so people can make an informed decision on how they would like to travel to wherever they need to go.
Using public transport, such as in Thailand, BTS, MRT, the boat, and the bus.
Okay, thanks. And next question is, I guess you've done market research before you started this project, but I just want to get a sense of whether there are others who are already providing similar services, and what are comparative advantages of your service if there are similar competitors already out there.
I'm sure there are. Oh, Julie, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so I think there are 1 or 2 apps as well that are working to do the same type of thing. But what makes our app unique is that we have sort of a competitive side, because we aim our app to younger generations and we aim it at schools and high schools. So our app will take into consideration each school and how each school is doing. And we aim to put a little bit of friendly competition to further encourage people to use our app and change their lifestyle to improve their carbon emissions.
And not only does the social aspect of our app encourage people, because we know that the younger generation does love social media, we also have a mass audience, a mass target audience. We don't have a niche audience, and I believe that will be able to implement it in a much more widespread way than if we did have a.
All right then. So that would be for the first questions. We do have time for another question. So if any of the judge have the question, this will be our last question.
Okay, I have a short question. At the beginning, you showed about the origin of the air pollution that you give as the example that about the outdoor burning in the northern part of Thailand, and as well as the gas waste burning in Sakya province. But however, that the cause of PM 2.5 in the Bangkok is not quite far from the origin area. Have you studied about the cause of the PM 2.5 that we have a serious problem in Bangkok? The real origin.
So
okay, Julie,
okay.
go ahead.
So our app is more targeted specifically in Bangkok, as we do have a lot of bad air pollution, as well as there's a lot of bad traffic that makes air pollution go up. So we decided to make that our focus point of our app. But in the future, if there are, as we said, if there are suggestions that people would like to make to our app to reduce carbon emissions for anything else, we would be more than happy to add them to our app in future updates. But at the moment, we want to focus on traffic and on cars emitting carbon emissions.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. This will be the end of the Q&A session for the clubbers. So thank you very much for the lovely presentations. Okay, so that will be all three finalist teams from the first topic, which is the air quality. And now let's take a quick break, which means like just breathe in. Okay, and moving on to the next part. So in this session, before transferring or listening to the next topic, which is gonna be a very interesting one and a very challenging one as well, I'd like you all, if you're watching this live, I'd like you to kindly help the UNDP fill out these forms to improve how they can help us and improve your own country. It is a UN 75 survey for 2020, and hopefully that will be our guideline how we will or they will help us in the future as well. So grab a phone and scan the QR code on the screen, or you can capture it and do it later, but it will be very helpful to do it just now. So yes, and as mentioned, that was only 3 teams, and we all have like a very, I wouldn't say they're very competitive because all 3 teams have different ideas, but every idea matter. And so the next step for this air quality team is going to be very interesting because they will also get to present their case in a lovely event called From 2.5 to 0 as well in September 23rd. So if you are listening, the winners will get to go there. So I wish you all the best. But now for the next topic, which is energy conservation and accessibility. Well, we are gonna change our mood right now. So from air quality to this topic, and this is actually a very hot topic for the past years because we are focusing on this more and more. So let me give you some brief introduction to this idea. So ASEAN's energy consumption has reduced due to decreased transportation, which demanded less fuel, and closed businesses, which consume less energy. However, renewable energy is rapidly expanding market in the Southeast Asian region, and Thailand has devised a plan which aims to reduce fossil fuels and increase the use of renewable energy by 2037. And the goal is to have 35% of totally renewable energy, 10% of alternative renewable energy, and 55% of fossil fuel-based energy. Due to the crisis, installation is set to stall. Moreover, Vietnam's wind power scheme to promote investment is extended for another 2 years. With all these information, we've given this to the participants as well. We are learning that, okay, for Thailand, we're heading in the right direction. But due to the impact of the lockdown, the journey towards becoming more sustainable has become slower than it should be. And so the students participating in this topic are challenged to come up with solutions that are able to promote renewable forms of energy and make energy more accessible to disadvantaged communities. With the contextual ASEAN-specific information. And so this is not an easy challenge, but well, of course, it is a challenge. So let's see what are the ideas that our finalists have come up with. So the first team that will be presenting their case, well, we have 3 teams, right? And just to remind once again that the teams will get the 10 minutes presentation and also 5 minutes Q&A, and we'll be timing. So please make sure to finish your presentation within 10 minutes. All right then. I am sure you're all ready. So let's see if the first team are almost ready. Okay, so just to name out, okay, we have 3 teams. The first team is gonna be the ventriloquist, and we also have Ursula team, and Guacamolia. Interesting teams, and I'm so eager to learn like how are they related, like the team names and the projects that are coming. So the first team that's going to be presenting their case is the ventriloquist, and they're joining us with the project called EcoCalc. So I'm sure you are already here. I'll give you time to break and also for the judges to think in and change the mood. Now focus more on the energy scheme. Okay, so if the ventriloquists are ready, if you are, let me see. Okay. Okay. It'd be nice if you can like turn on the video like so we can see your face, but if not, it's okay. So the ventriloquist, please take it away.
Let's imagine what Thailand would be like 10 years from now. There would definitely be more people and more futuristic technology.
Yet, the possibility is immense. Industry would flourish, and demand for energy
would grow.
We're having some technical difficulties right now.
This is your table of contents, and our team is to further clarify on what will go on next. Next slide, please. When talking about conservation, it is impossible not to mention ecological footprint, overconsumption, and the solution on how we can bring about energy conservation. So what exactly is ecological footprint? Well, to put it simply, it is any impact human activities have on the environment. To some of the data written here on our slide, Thailand is a major producer and consumer of electricity. And this has got to change because in the future, there won't be any left.
Business and residential sector has increased simultaneously during the past decade, especially in the pandemic conditions, where working from home has become more prevalent. On the other hand, industrial consumption from factories has been decreasing. Calculating from the data from the past 6 months, our team approximated the consumption rate for 2020 to be 14,000 to 16,000 in just the residential sector. Next slide, please.
Currently, Thailand is unable to supply enough energy for itself. It relies on the import of natural gas and coal from neighboring countries. Next slide, please. Neighboring countries, so as to meet up with the increasing demands. Indeed, this has made our electrical bill significantly more expensive, but the government is trying their best to tackle this problem. They have delineated plans to implement a renewable energy system in the future. This includes solar energy, wind energy, and water energy. If technology is further advanced, they also intend to extract energy from alternative sources like hydrogen, which could be very sustainable. However, in the meantime, these solutions are simply not practical due to either inadequate fundings or technologies. This is a reason why energy conservation is a necessity, and realizing that it is impossible to make everyone cooperate, our main objective is to instead give them a choice. Next slide, please.
Problem analysis. It all comes down to problem analysis. The world's energy supply is rapidly decreasing, and our team has notified that there are 3 main causes. First, lax prospective planning. This is us not thinking of the future generations and asking selfish questions such as, why does this concern me? The second is ignorance. Unless your finances are being directly affected, they wouldn't bother conserving. If you have money to pay for your bills, you wouldn't realize that you have to conserve because there's still money to pay for those bills. And so in the end, it turns to ignorance. And lastly, overconsumption, using energy wastefully. This is when we have an abundance of resources at home. We can just flip on a switch of the light and we have electricity. And so we never realize what we've got until finally it's all gone. Conserving energy, as we already said, is not just about saving on our electricity costs, but it's about making sure that we have energy resources in the future. Next slide, please. As the ventriloquist, we strongly believe in the model that you don't see us speak, but we make our voices heard. As a puppeteer, the audience focuses on the puppet and not the speaker. We are saying that we are the driving force and not just the solution, because the solution is in the hands of the people or our audience.
Okay, so hence, our team actually aims on creating an interactive website that informs and raises awareness. Afterwards, we hope to be able to design an application called EcoCalc that could interact with users even more. Our application would then calculate and analyze one's electricity usage and provide data for comparison. It must be easily accessible by all. More details will be informed in the next slide. Next slide, please.
So EcoCalc, what exactly is it? It's our energy efficient calculator. So it calculates electricity consumption by using data given from a circuit breaker, which every household has, and distributes these results according to your consumption. And this results then gives a comparison to the user in order to reach alternative solutions. It all comes down to algorithm.
Our algorithm, in short, represents that of a set of survey questions. Question would have a specific amount of choice designated to them, and for every choice, there's a point assigned to them. At the end of the survey question, points will be added up, and algorithm would run, determining how energy efficient your devices are. Next slide, please. Initially, our website was created to contain the more refined and more detailed information about our website. But after we qualified for the finalist bracket, we, the ventriloquists, have changed our intention from informing the user to save energy, EcoCalc. Next slide, please.
So what are the SDGs? They're the Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 17 goals in total created by the United Nations to be accomplished by the year 2030. And our project, EcoCalc, is created with the implementation of these 4 goals in mind. First of which,
Goal 7. Our application analyzes and suggests ways to conserve energy, hence making energy affordable for all.
The second goal our project will accomplish is number 9. This is because our application is innovative, simple to use, free to download, and packed with interactive functions.
The third goal is goal 11, in which our app would eventually create a sustainable community if implemented by all.
and lastly, climate action. It all comes down that energy conservation is an act towards climate action. If we realize that we're using too much and we're reducing our use, the climate will be better. Next slide, please.
Our implementation timeline can be broken down to 5 different stages, where the first one we have accomplished so far is publishing our website. And with further funding, we will be able to continue with our second stage, which is launching our application on all platforms. The launch of our application would then be the gateway drug to the next 3 stages, which mainly focus on advertising and reaching more people. We plan to advertise on all social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and etc. And after that, we will start listening to feedbacks and develop our app accordingly. And up to that point, we'd like to start campaigning and raising awareness with our own hands. Next slide, please. On the financial view of things, our target market is all households, regardless of their income. We have approximated the total cost of the project to be around 9,500 baht, where the server maintenance would cost roughly 1,500 baht per month. 4,000 baht will be the cost of advertisement, and an additional 4,000 baht be for app development. Our break-even point is when we have reached 350 premium users, since the premium subscription would cost 30 baht per user. This is where we worthwhile and affordable investment for them, because this optional one-time payment will grant the users access to premium features in the application, such as receiving more specific info regarding the source of energy usage. The application alone is also simple to use and compatible with all households, since the only requirement is having a working circuit breaker. Next slide, please.
Application in post-pandemic society. So basically, during the quarantine period, it is clear that there has been an increase in energy conservation and consumption. This reason is that it may be attributed to the work from home system, which encourages people to work on computers so as to compensate for the unaccounted for holidays. Seeing thus, we aim to implement our application in the post-pandemic society to tackle this problem. Our main objective will be to raise awareness of the problem by analyzing the sources of energy consumption and providing logical.
Next slide, please. Future development and project goals. Our main goal is to raise the overall awareness of excessive power consumption and demonstrate the importance of conservation. For our future development, we're planning to advertise our website and applications on different social media platforms in order to interact with as many users as possible. Moreover, make the application accessible and available worldwide. Our team sincerely believes that the solution lies among the responsibility of each one of us. Therefore, keeping the idea simple and affordable to anyone is what we prioritize. With that said, we are confident in our prospect, and we will ensure that EcoCalc can be a solution for everybody. That concludes our presentation, and the floors are now open for a Q&A session. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the ventriloquist. And now it's time to proceed to the Q&A session. We have 5 minutes. So the first judge, if you want to ask question, please be our guest. Yes.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, the student, for your quite interesting idea. I have a short question to ask you that according to my understanding, you will focus on the energy efficiency and conservation by your application only on the residential sector or the household, or you can expand your idea to the other sectors, such as the transportation sector or the commercial sector?
Okay, so thank you for your question. And as mentioned in our background slide, also we mentioned briefly, we have gotten information from the MEA that the residential sector and the business sector are both major consumers of electricity right now in Thailand. This is why during the pandemic, we have realized that the business and the residential sector have been combined because working from home means that energy consumption that is usually used in office buildings have been moved to where you are in the residential area. And EcoCalc is created to be implemented by all, meaning that anybody can download our app because it is free for everybody and available on all platforms. And this application will then provide a feedback on how we can conserve based on a circuit breaker, as you mentioned. And every place has a circuit breaker, both the residential or business sectors. So we believe that it is possible for EcoCalc to be implemented by all situations.
Thank you very much. And the next question will be from Kun Yusuke.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I would like you to elaborate a little bit more on the solutions that you're proposing. I understand that the app allows people to know how much energy they're consuming, but I think in the slide you also mentioned that it offers alternative energy sources that people can switch to, or something that you mentioned about alternatives. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what actually the app is going to offer in terms of alternatives?
Thank you for your question. So as I mentioned about the alternative problem, that's just stating status quo on what the Thai government are planning to accomplish in the future. And our main solution mainly focuses on a more realistic goal, which is raising an overall awareness, because we realize that it's impossible to make everyone cooperate like 100% on closing their lights every night and trying to use less electricity, because it's inherently impossible to do that. So we realized that problem, and we have created this application for to solve that by making people more aware of this problem by giving them numerical data, which is psychologically more profound than reading something's words. And we hope that this solution would provoke them to to start some change and perhaps lessen their use of electricity. Thank you.
Thank you. We still have about 2 minutes left, so we are open to one more question for the ventriloquist.
I can ask a quick question. And I had connectivity problems, so if you already answered this, someone else can go. But the solution is supposed to connect to your circuit breaker. How are you getting data from the circuit breaker to your app?
You have less
Thank
than
you for
1
the
minute
question.
to answer this question, so please wrap this up. Thank
That
you.
function is not yet available on our application, but we can determine personalities that would lead to waste of energy, such as the choice between using fans on our application as of yet.
Thank you very much. And that will be our last question for the team. So thank you very much, the ventriloquist, for your presentation. It is very interesting. And so we surely hope that you'll also be one of our finalists. So let's keep it up. And so thank you very much. And I'd like to continue on this journey on the energy conservation and accessibility presentation. So the next team will be Team Ursula. I'm actually like the team name, so I really want to learn more what it's going to be, the details about this case presentation. So Team Ursula is standing by right now.
Good morning. We are Team Ursula. I'm Yufa, and my team members will be joining shortly, I hope. My team members consist of Renee, Licha, and Arissa, and we're honored to be presenting to you our ideas for energy conservation and accessibility. So, next slide. With the ongoing pandemic at hand, now more than ever, the problem of energy accessibility and conservation is an urgent question that needs to be discussed. 68% of Thailand uses fossil fuels and instead of renewable energies. And similarly to other countries, our oil and gas reserves are expected to deplete in the next decade. It is important to note that Thailand's commercial energy demand has an annual increase of 6.6% each year, especially for energy types and natural gas, coal, and others. Next slide. From the statistics found from an energy access report conducted in some Thai slums, it is found an overwhelming majority, over 90%, have access to electrical appliances, but use mostly traditional cooking stoves, but very few use biomass or renewables. As Thailand ends lockdown, the trajectory for energy consumption is still set to increase. However, efforts in following the PDP have halted. The PDP and other similar regulations like the AEDP aims to increase renewable energy production to around 30% of the country's consumption. But right now, the funds are not available. Next slide.
Moreover, the traditional stoves also emit harmful fuels that lead to air pollution and premature deaths. Shockingly, this is the cause of 1.6 million deaths annually across the globe and occur most frequently in Kenya, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. This exemplifies the fact that a lack of energy, in particular a lack of access to modern cooking fuels and electricity, act as a bottleneck, holding back progress towards global achievement of sustainability. Next slide. As a result of COVID-19, there have been delayed efforts towards the promotion of renewable energy. Thus, we have proposed a viable solution that will both minimize energy consumption and benefit our local community. This will come in the form of ICS, improved cooking stoves. Next slide. Our aim is to provide improved cooking stoves for slums of Bangkok, such as the slum in Kong Toi. Next slide.
Why? Our problem is that only 55% of the population have access to energy services, and many households are not connected to the energy grid. Also, improved cooking stoves will save around 30 to 40% compared to traditional charcoal cooking stoves.
Next slide. We chose the improved cooking stoves as it reduces the fuel consumption per meal, allowing users to save up fuel in the long run. It also retains heat more effectively and reduces the amount of harmful smoke emissions. Lastly, it's also low-cost solution, making it more affordable. Next slide.
Almost every SDG has been addressed by these improved cooking stoves, which further establishes the positive effects it will have on the well-being of Thai citizens and the community as a whole. Just to name a few, it addresses SDG 7 because it aims to provide a clean cooking source that will help to address energy poverty. It also helps to achieve SDG 5 because it will reduce the amount of fuel needed and thus the financial burdens to families. Consequently, there will be a predicted decrease in the famine or food insecurity. And lastly, it would also aim to achieve SDG 11 because these stoves have been found to greatly decrease the amount of carbon emissions in households, and therefore it is scientifically proven to decrease the risk of lung cancer and other cardiovascular diseases. More prevalently, it also aims to decrease the severity of pollution, which is something that is very prevalent in modern-day Thailand. These stoves will not only contribute by providing a clean and reliable energy source for cooking, but will also mitigate the effects of poverty and target economic and socio-cultural factors. Next slide.
Implementation timeline. Firstly, we'll contact the slum community to ensure that the project is feasible. Then advertise the idea to local communities and schools to raise awareness about the importance of energy conservation. We can then host events and campaign days to fund for stoves, encourage school sponsors to aid the cause. We will then contact the slum community and purchase stoves from the distributor. After receiving the stoves, we can then visit the slum community again in Slum Kongtoi to deliver the stoves to the various households that require it. We can then educate them on the importance of energy conservation to make them know more. Next slide. Thailand has capped the cooking gas price at 18.13 baht a kilogram for household use, which is a very high price for those who only have a daily income of 300 baht. And the market potential for improved cooking stove in developing countries is estimated at $580 million. One stove made of clay and galvanized iron bucket is estimated to cost around 150 to 200 baht, which is cheaper than normal cooking stove, which costs around 500 baht. Improved cooking stoves save up to 66% of fuel usage compared to regular propane gas, which costs around 300 to 500 baht per tank. These stoves can be operated by biomass. Since if biomass is available as agricultural waste, the cost can be cut completely. Slum Kongtoi has around 100,000 people, in which one household has around 4.7 people, meaning that there are around 21,000 households in Slum Kongtoi. The minimum cost for this would be around 3 million baht and maximum cost for 5 million baht. However, these costs are too much for school funds to handle. We can first start off by donating to 350 to 500 people with a minimum cost of 10,500 baht and maximum cost of 25,000 baht. Next slide.
In order to raise funds and awareness around our school community, we will aim to do the following. Campaign the project across our school-wide magazine, create informational booths or stands at our school lounge, present to teachers and other students through notice boards and emails, and collaborate with our school environmental club to have fundraising days. These usually raise around 30,000 baht. Next slide.
Due to COVID-19, many members of the Thai slum community may face a decrease in their disposable income as a result of the increasing unemployment rates in the current economic recession. As such, by using the more energy efficient stoves, members of the community will be able to reduce their use of fuel for cooking and heating. In turn, this will allow them to save small amounts of their disposable income over time. Subsequently, this will prolong the window of time allowing them to get a stable and self-sustaining job. Over time, as the pandemic recedes, increasing amounts of businesses will start to open their doors. Open their doors, thus presenting opportunities for members of the community to accept. Overall, this has the potential to aid both their mental health as well as their financial stability. Next slide.
In the long run, we aim to focus more on advocating and implementing energy-efficient technology overall. First, we want to do in our school community, then the international school community and neighboring areas. We also want to link other biomass projects, such as turning agricultural waste into energy, which have been introduced in the Thai government's PDP plans, as lockdown is ending. If our project shows success in the long term, we may be able to collaborate with the Ministry of Education and Energy Efficiency.
With such an innovative idea at hand, I think the audience may be wondering how viable the solution is in terms of its implementation. In fact, a wide majority of organizations and renowned charities have already funded the project. For example, the UNDP provided these cooking stoves to Northern Thailand in 2016. This greatly improved the quality of life throughout ethnic tribes. Similar projects were also created by the EU Switch Asia and the SND Foundation. With these past successes, we can further acknowledge that these stoves will undoubtedly have a positive effect on those who they are able to reach. Our solution shows that providing people with the necessary tools, people can thrive and progress, something that links back to one of the SDGs' most famous motives, a pathway to the future we all want. Thank you.
We can go to questions now.
Thank you so much. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for your presentations. It is interesting to hear how things will be improved for the slums in the community. And so let's proceed on to the Q&A session. You have 5 minutes, so approximately 2 to 3 questions. So please try to answer within the time frame as well. And so I'd like to give the stage to the judge, the first question. Can we have the first question for Ursula?
May I have?
All right, please.
Okay. Yautila from Ministry of Energy. Thank you, student, for your presentation. I'm wondering that you select to demonstrate the utilization of biomass in the urban area because that in the city, as you know, that we use a lot radio of the LPG for the cooking. And this one is my concern that compared to the utilization of LPG, you have to collect the biomass from the everywhere and maybe not far from your demonstration area for your cooking. But if compared to the convenience in the utilization of the LPG, I think that maybe it cannot keep the sustainability. That I would like to know about your response in this matter. How can you prevent about the idea for my purpose?
In the long term, we believe that yes, but these stoves will be quite hard to kind of source. However, we believe in the long term, it will actually reduce carbon emissions and will actually improve the air quality, which is currently a prevalent issue in Thailand today. We believe that yes, there may be initial costs that will provide problems. However, we believe that it is a much better alternative to the current stoves that we are using, which are having so many detrimental problems to society today.
Following on from that, we feel like we could start some distribution channels, which would make the convenience of transporting such agricultural waste much faster. And with the development of such ICS technology, we feel that maybe not only biomass and agricultural waste can be used, maybe even more sustainable things that are more easily found in those areas.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We still have more time, so I'd like to proceed on to the second question.
I have a quick one. Cook stoves have been around for a while. They've been very successfully implemented in a number of places, as your team suggested. Why is it, do you think, that they haven't taken off in Bangkok, and what is it that you're going to do that would make them attractive and have higher rate of adoption?
Traditional cooking stoves, yes, are very well used in the slum communities in many households. I think it's more to do with financial stability in those households that they might not be able to afford such improved technology, improved cooking stoves. And I think our initiative to be able to help fund each house implement that, and so that they can start adopting it more. I'm pretty sure that most people do care about the environment. It's just they don't have the funds or the convenience to implement the eco lifestyle.
Thank you.
To add on to this, I think it will also jumpstart and catalyze energy conservation because many people would be more aware of their sources that they use to cook with, and they will be able to further progress energy sustainability in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, so we still have about 1 minute and a half. So I think one more question would suit you, so we can understand Ursula's team better from this.
May I have one question?
Please, Miss Toksaboy.
Yeah, so because I'm not sure much how the slum people they use the traditional cooking stove or not in Thailand, because it's also about the energy, the material that they use. So I just would like to know that, have you done any research that how many percent of them they use the traditional cooking stove? Because first of all, we need to know that what they are using, because it's quite far from the biomass area that Dr. Yawati he mentioned, that how then they're going to use. Because my assumption that I thought that the people in the city or in the urban, they usually LTP or then gas. So I just would like to know that you done on the research or not.
Thank you. We found that 70% of like London Kong Thai use traditional cooking stoves, and thus first maybe our solution would be to start implementing in slums which are further away or closer to the areas with biomass, so that transportation is more convenient.
And also it was found that actually 55% of people in not exactly urban slums, but also rural slums use actually 70% of wood consumption, which is actually exploiting our natural resources as well. And actually in the long term will have a detrimental effect on many ethnic tribes as well.
Okay, so thank you very much for your answers. Hope that you'll get to see a clearer perspective about the case that Team Ursa has presented. So thank you very much, and wish you all good luck. All right then, and that we have listened to the two teams for the theme, for the topic of energy, right? And so we have the next team, energy conservation and accessibility. The team is Guacamolia. And I can see that the team is ready, come with their case of cage. So let's hear from the team what they have in mind and what they want to present as solutions to the challenge. If you're ready, please take the stage.
So, good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team Guacamolia. Hi, my name is Mac.
My name's Max.
My name's Amor.
And my name's Candy.
So we're here to present our project, Cage, Powering a Smarter Choice. Next slide, please.
So first, let's talk about the background. As you can see to the right, we have two images. The top image shows the total amount of energy produced by certain, energy devices: solar, fossil fuels, wind, and nuclear. And as you can see, solar energy is much better producing than fossil fuels. This will be more in depth later. So the bottom image is going to be the total amount of energy used in Thailand. To the left is the raw data, and to the right is the median or average amount of energy consumption. So for our background, urban areas, they have a lot of easier ways to get energy. However, we find that they are not as efficient as well as not eco-friendly. One example would be gas stations. But this is way better compared to places that are like rural, because they don't even have access to energy or have privileges that we do. Energy conservation is very important for the sake of the environment and for the sake of your wallet. Considering that energy conservation is the ability to save energy. So by saving energy, you can save the environment, because most energy is run by power plants that use fossil fuels. And also it will decrease your energy bill. Next slide, please.
The status quo. Currently, 20% of energy used is renewable, 10% is alternative, and 70% is fossil fuels. Fossil fuel consumption is declining. The government wants to decrease the amount of fossil fuel energy consumption by 25% by 2030. Companies like SCGAA are aiming to convert types of energies that it uses to a more sustainable option. A total of 173,000 terawatts of solar energy strikes the Earth continuously. That's 10,000 times more energy than the planet's population uses. Solar energy is free and more efficient. Next slide, please. The problems. Global warming due to greenhouse gas emission is a global problem on which countries, including Thailand, have been focusing in order to accelerate control measures. Thailand's energy sector has been trying to solve this problem by promoting and developing renewable energy. However, each type of energy has different good and bad points. In addition, as Thailand is a developing country, high quantities of electric power is required for the economic and living development. Hence, there comes a question. If renewable energy could be able to replace fossil fuels, the publics aren't aware enough about energy consumption. Next slide, please.
So, we present a simple solution to this big problem. CAGE. CAGE stands for Clean, Accessible, Green Energy. Next slide, please.
So for our solutions, we have two solutions. Number one, the product itself, and number two, how we're going to raise awareness. Next slide, please. So we have two parts for our product. The first is about how we're going to make and what's going to do. So manufacturing and delivering is going to take quite a bit of money, so we're going to need some extra funding from the Thai government in order to make this work. Rural areas are our primary demographic, considering those are the places that we try to improve energy, because many of them don't even have access to energy. This product is going to require proper installation, so it will be done by professionals, and they will teach lessons to people that might not know how to operate these machines. We're also going to add a hotline that will improve communication between the buyers and the sellers. And this information can be used for people who need help with their machines or if their machines have been damaged. Next slide, please.
So now we're going to dive deeper into our cage product. As you can see on the right side, there are two images. The one on top has wheels on it to increase mobility. The first product is a movable solar panel energy system. It provides sufficient energy for a village. The solar panel will convert the solar power and store it into the battery. The green box behind it is a control panel where you control the limit of the energy or electricity to prevent the wire from frying, which is highly unlikely. The one below is more efficient. It is called a cage pole. It consists of a solar panel and a spiral wind turbine. Traditional wind turbines that we see have the shape of a fan, but our spiral wind turbine does not take as much space. To ensure that when it's windy, cloudy, or rainy, we can still generate energy. Next slide, please. Next, raising awareness. Cage will set out and social media accounts on all platforms and start the trending hashtag Clean Accessible Green Energy, where we can share information or build a community where information can be spread. Next, for areas with lower social media usage or a lower internet connection, we will set out teaching programs and education campaigns where we show the statistics of harmful effects of wasting energy and statistics of the difference of energy accessibility between the rural and urban areas for the public to be informed and well educated on this topic. Next slide, please.
So here are the following sustainable development goals that we will be achieving through this project. So first of all, good health and well-being. So by giving around cage products to rural areas, we will be giving them access to electricity. Having access to electricity will improve their quality of lives. Having access to electricity means you have access to the internet and electric appliances. Next, moving on to affordable and clean energy. So our solution uses solar energy and wind energy. Both of these are clean energy options. They are a one-time purchase. Once you have them, you can use them forever and ever. Next, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So we will be putting down an electric infrastructure in rural areas that hasn't had electricity before. Now, the next three we will be tackling together. So first of all, sustainable cities and communities. So by giving them electricity sources that uses clean energy, all of those things are sustainable. You can use them forever and ever and ever, as I've previously said before. Next, responsible consumption and production. So using solar energy and wind energy, both of these do not produce any carbon emissions, which helps slow down global warming and climate change. This also directly relates to climate action. Now, lastly, partnerships for the goals. We will be partnering with the Thai government and many other countries' governments to achieve the goals that I have previously mentioned. Now, moving on, please. Next slide.
Next is the finances. So we're going to give ourselves a budget of roughly 300 million baht. However, this can fluctuate considering the current economic status. It can be higher or lower. So we have the materials, which make up roughly 40% of the total cost, or 120 million baht. The materials include metal beams, solar cells, wind turbines, batteries, and metal cards. There can also be other necessary tools for this project. Next is the production and transportation, which will make up roughly 30 to 35% of the budget. This can be used to assemble the product, as well as load it onto heavy vehicles to transport it to the desired location. Next is research. Research will be used to know about the most efficient as well as cost-efficient ways of designing our products. And last but not least is advertising, which makes roughly 20%. Advertising relates to what we previously stated in the raising awareness slide with social media. But we are also planning to use advertising for other things such as billboards for people that don't have enough money. One machine will be 100,000 baht, and the rent will be 5,000 baht per month. Well, the rent is optional, but the machine will be 100,000. We will give away some machines for free to people that are in rural areas, and there will be roughly 100 to 200 machines built. Next slide.
Application in a post-pandemic society. After COVID-19, the economy is in a rough position, but with our product, we plan to give people who are currently struggling with electricity bills a cheaper and more eco-friendly alternative way of supplying energy. Next slide, please.
Future development, our cage product has a lot of potential to grow and improve. We will give Thailand a future without an energy crisis. It can give people in Thailand cleaner energy, renewable energy, and spread energy accessibility throughout the whole country. In the near future, the design can be refined and streamlined further for ease of use and maximize its purpose. If the budget were to be increased and after some years of testing and the real public using it, we can get their complaints and further improve it. Public places can have cage products installed in their areas for ease of eco-friendly energy. Next slide, please.
Right, so we have reached the end of our slides. So here are our citations. You can take a look at them. Thank you very much for listening to our presentations. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. This is such a lovely presentation. Team Guacamole, are you ready for the Q&A session?
Yes.
Yep.
You have 5 minutes, so approximately 2 to 3 questions, and please keep it within time frame. So if you're ready, I know the judges are ready, so let's start with the first question.
Yes. May I have?
Yes, Mr. Yawatira.
Yes, thank you very much, student. 2 questions I would like to hear from you. And the first question is that if you were to install your system in the rural area, and I would like to know that how about your idea to carry out about the after service. For example, when the system is out of order, who will be in charge to give the maintenance service to the remote area people. And then second question is that do you look forward to the management about the scrap of the solar photovoltaic system as well as the another system that you install in rural area? Yes, please.
I'm sorry, can we hear the second question again? The second question?
The second question is that how do you think about the management about the scrap of the solar PV system when it's expired? And another idea that you want to know about it, we don't want the system to be the waste and discard it into the environment. Yes, I would like to know.
Oh, okay. So for maintenance, we're thinking of having a hotline that provides information and answers to urgent calls for free major maintenance and standard maintenance annually. So we have annually checkups, so each year. And as for the maintenance, we will have cage hubs throughout the whole country in rural areas like an office.
Like service centers. That's basically it. And for the second question, so this thing will be built out of metal, so it wouldn't be discarded that way. It would just stay there, or we can either have our team remove it and then we can reuse it somewhere else.
Thank you.
Thank you. We still have a little more time for the second question. Okay, yes, please, Mr. Yusuke.
Yes, I think you showed two pictures of your product, and it wasn't really clear to me what the products are really. One is a movable solar panel, and the other one is solar panel combined with sort of wind turbine or propellers. So can you just elaborate a little bit more on your products? That's one. And second, have you looked at the sort of how much energy those products can produce versus average energy consumption? So how many such systems are needed to supply sufficient energy for average households?
Okay, so for the models themselves, they were originally intended to be a GIF, but I guess it doesn't work in the PowerPoint. But the products themselves, well, the first one's going to be a battery with a solar panel on top of a metal cart. And the second one will be a long pole that has the wind turbine around it and a solar panel on top. The second one was mainly going to be placed in open fields, where places that can get high amounts of wind. And it can also be used just in case there's like rain or if it's cloudy. They can be interchangeable, meaning that the second one can be attached to the first one, so it can be attached to the battery to store the energy. And as for the second question, we have measured the amount of energy. It's not quite as much as your standard fossil fuels. However, this project is intended for rural areas, so therefore their only needs will be for lights and mainly like kitchen gases, as well as a kitchen, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And well, since we have a few seconds left, I'd like to leave that as our last question. So thank you very much, Team Guacamole, for a lovely presentation. And we do hope that we'll get to see you on the next stage as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, that would be the three teams for the topic of energy conservation and accessibility. And for now, we'll just take a quick break to our another survey, because we are here together on Youth for SDGs to create the change in our society. And we truly believe that all our thoughts, our ideas and comments truly matter in so many ways that we can contribute, not just the UN 75. There are other organizations that strive to improve the society as well. And Thailand Youth Biodiversity Network is also one of them. So I'd like to ask you all, if you're watching this live, so please take this survey. It's on Thailand Child, Youth and the Environment survey. So we can learn more about your ideas, how you want to create a change. And it's easy things. It's an easy way that youths can hopefully help the environment, which is exactly what the theme of this Youth for SDGs episode is. So please take a moment and scan the QR code on the screen. We also have two versions, in Thai versions and in English. So you can choose the questions that you're comfortable with. Okay, so For the past, okay, we've been through almost like over the half of our session right now. So we have two topics covered. The first one is air quality, and the second one is energy conservation and accessibility. And so now we have one more topic left and three finalists to go through. And so the last topic is waste management and medical waste. Well, due to impact of the lockdown, there has been a drastic spike in disposable medical equipment such as surgical grade masks worldwide. I'm sure we all seen this. And this caused an amount of medical waste to spike as well. This has caused a lot of countries to be negligent in their recycling system because we all care about our safety, and it is not wrong. It is a completely understand that we will care about our health. But these are the problems that we have to deal with because these hazardous medical waste must be disposed separately from others before being incinerated to prevent even more damage in the system. And so in this case, our participants had to conceptualize ideas that could potentially solve the problem of how to make sure and manage this medical waste, especially. So it could be the waste could be food packaging, medical waste, and also how to promote circular economy because they are all related, right? And here are three finalists. They are ready. I'm pretty sure they're ready here to present their case. We have seen so many interesting ideas, and here is the first team. The first team to voice out their ideas is team the Fre with the case called Axon. So if you're ready, I see that they are ready. So I'd like to pass on the mic to the Tre. So please welcome.
Good morning, respected judges and fellow audience. We are the Tree, and today we will be presenting Project Axon, our solution on the topic of waste management. My name is Pincha.
My name is Francis. And
the other member is Jemmy. Change slide, please. Can we change slide, please? 180 tons. This is the amount of excess medical waste generated daily ever since the start of the worldwide pandemic. And this is only within one city. For example, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, and Hanoi all generate this sum. I remember rushing to the supermarket with my dad. We grabbed a trolley and filled it to the top with tissues, alcohol, and surgical masks, pretty much our COVID-19 protection starter pack. But I was not the only one doing this. Millions of people worldwide were doing the exact same thing. And I'm pretty sure you were too, just a couple of months ago. This all eventually ends up in the bin, and eventually in a landfill, adding to more waste in the world. Change slide, please. Urbanization and industrialization has been a popular trend in the 21st century. In fact, it is estimated that by 2050, the total waste production will increase by 70% to 3.4 billion tons. Before the pandemic, people have tried to overcome this problem by switching to renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind energy. And this concept is growing in popularity every day. Change slide, please. Right now, waste is not the number one problem. The number one problem is to make sure everyone is safe, and hopefully the vaccine will be developed soon to provide immunity. Recycling has been put on hold as there is a shortage of workers in the workforce within the community. Furthermore, it is unsafe to recycle medical waste unless it is uncontaminated. An example of how an NGO has tried to overcome this problem is by Greenpeace. They have started a campaign against the single use of plastic. An example of their latest campaign is the Beat the Microbead, an app that informs people about the microbead content in cosmetics. Change slide, please. The main issue of our project is the increased waste in households due to the need to decontaminate items before entering the house, such as when you buy something in, you must wipe it with alcohol to make sure all the germs are gone. These issues are hard to address as there has been no sustainable alternative method to clean objects from outside that is possibly covered in COVID-19 germs. And like mentioned before, the number one priority at the moment is to care for the sick. Therefore, the safety of the environment may have been unintentionally neglected at the moment. Change slide, please.
Before I go on, I'd like to apologize about the sound of the rain outside in case you can hear it. So our proposal is to solve the issue of excess waste caused by the current global pandemic, as many people are neglecting the environment to save themselves by disinfecting everything that enters their house, which is why we have invented a product that will kill pathogenic organisms whilst reducing household waste. Our product creates a sustainable way to keep hygienic during the pandemic. It is designed to be simple to use so that people of all ages can stay safe. With the push of a button, the UVC light bulbs are turned on and are able to be used to kill pathogens. Change slide, please. So what is our product? Our product is a bracelet which contains a UVC bulb that kills pathogenic organisms. It is wirelessly charged in a capsule box, which has a solar panel on the top as shown in these drawings in the slideshow, making the energy consumption of our product 100% sustainable. Change slide, please.
So how our product improve global problems? Our product uses UVC. UVC is crucial in the frontline battle of COVID-19 and has been used in countries such as China to help reduce the spread. The accessibility of UVC that our product provides allows for another layer of defense against the life-threatening pandemic we've all been living in. Our product is in support of SDG 12, stating for responsible consumption and production. This product will reduce the overall consumption of antibacterial wipes and disinfectant products, which will greatly reduce the amount of waste we produce due to the consequent decrease in raw materials needed. Change slide, please. Our product also supports good health and well-being, as it provides another method of decontamination that lasts long and also provides extra reassurance to those who have been worrisome due to the pandemic. This reduces the anxiety that has arose in households due to the constant news of the pandemic. Change slide, please. Our product also tackles SDG 13, as we are relying less on materials that are replenishable and therefore reduce deforestation. 27,000 trees are already being cut daily. We should not add to that cause. As well as tackling climate action, we also support affordable and clean energy, SDG 7, as our product relies solely on solar panel, which is a renewable source of energy, therefore making it sustainable. Change slide, please.
So here's our timeline of our project. It will be as follows. The development will take around 6 months, where we will test the product against FDA regulations to ensure that it is safe to use. The second step will be campaigning. We will use our school assemblies to our advantage to inform people about the issue and our proposed solution, as well as using online resources like social media. Beta testing is the third step, which will take around a month. In this period of time, 80 pieces of our product will be distributed amongst a group of people to test. Once declared safe and useful, we will mass produce the product and sell them for affordable prices. Change slide, please.
The overriding aim of this product is to provide a convenient and accessible alternative for people to cope with this new lifestyle we have all been living in. Each piece will make an estimated profit of 200 baht to grant funds for a campaign that will be discussed in further detail. Our plans are to recruit passionate volunteers from the student body who wants to help us. We will then conduct a survey via email to research the needs and wants of our target customers, the students. Advertisements will be sent throughout the school community via posters. We plan to arrange for the posters to be eye-catching for the student body in order to intrigue them into lending their help. Change slide, please.
So here's the application in post-pandemic society. Since antibacterial wipes were commonly used before the spread of the coronavirus, the innovative product that we are presenting will not only be applicable to the pandemic, but also will hopefully reduce the effects of climate change by not having to use as many wood pulp-produced antibacterial wipes, which will hopefully decrease the effects of deforestation in the long run. Change slide, please.
For our future development, we want to contribute the profits made from Project Action to a campaign towards protecting the awareness of, creating the awareness of trees, as in our team name, The Tree. We want to start a gardening program for the primary students in our school, so they belong to a movement that benefits the environment around them, and children in this generation are aware of the increasing problems we have in our environment at a very young age. The reason we chose trees was because it promotes replacing the resources we used up, like how we cut down trees to make tissues. It also benefits the air quality in the city area where pollution might be a problem. as we have seen how the schools have closed in the recent months. So this, change slide, please. So this concludes the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening, and we hope you consider our project a sustainable solution for the problem of waste management in the midst of this worldwide pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for an interesting presentation. We know that the waste management is not easy to deal with, and you have come up with an interesting ideas of how you want to go on and proceed on with the project, and that's a very good start. And now let's hear more details and questions from the judges. If you have any questions, you can also raise your hands, like click the raise hand buttons, or you can ask away right now. So you have 5 minutes to for this session, so please keep it within the time frame. All right, here goes the first question.
I'll go first. Quick question about the technology. First of all, very interesting idea to make a portable UVC. Is that something? Is there technology existing that allows that to start off of something like a bracelet? I've only ever seen it used in something that was like plugged into standard electricity. So can you answer that, please?
We got our inspiration for the idea of cleaning stuff from the shopping malls, like how you see those big boxes where you can put your bags in and decontaminate the items. But we wanted to make an idea that is easier for people to use on an everyday basis. Of course, the technology is still new, but our #1 priority is to make sure everything we do is safe for the people. So this will be need to look further into in the later stages.
Would be the first thing I would look into in your research is is that something that can be powered off of like a battery, or is that something that's going to take significant innovation to get there? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have more time, so can we have the second question?
Yeah. So I just want to know about the cost that is allowed 1,500 baht, right? How you come up with this cost? Because it's quite new for me, and yeah, it's very new. So what's the detail of the cost and how to create it?
So the materials used will be most likely materials that are accessible by like any area. So our products can be like globally available and won't be restricted to like areas with only specific resources. So, and the materials will most likely be cheap, biodegradable, reusable materials that have been recycled from projects before. So it'll be like old Xbox controllers being recycled to make our product, which will hopefully decrease the price because we will be using recycled material, but also be sustainable as we aren't producing any more waste than we already have.
And one more question. How about the life of the product? Do you estimate that how many time we can use or how many years? Because if we compare to the cost, it's quite high, and so we need to know that, okay, if one product is 5 years, 10 years, or yeah, and how many years?
We could draw a comparison with similar products. I would say similar, but since it is new technology, there isn't much similar products. So I would draw a comparison with like an Apple Watch or an iPhone, for example. And I'd say that the life of our product would be similar to those. It also depends on like the person using it, how much they've damaged it, how much they charge it. It depends on, there's many factors, but hopefully it can be used throughout like 7 years and more.
Interesting. Thank you for the question, and thank you for a very detailed answer. We also have time for the next question. So the next and last question will be the honor. Or shall we conclude the session? Oh, so is there any more questions from the judges? Okay. I see a no. So I think this will be all for this Q&A session for Team The Tray. So thank you very much, and hopefully you'll get through. We'll see. Thank you very much, Naka. And so we'll
Thank you for
proceed
your
on.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll proceed on to the next team for this waste management and medical waste topic, which is Team Beams. Okay, so the team has come with the concept of trash trade. And it sounds like something we would have known about, or something that it's very interesting that we would possibly get easy to get familiar with. But let's see what are the details and what do we have to do if we want to trade the trash. All right, so Beams, are you ready?
Yep. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear. All right then, so your 10 minutes starts now. Please finish within time or you will be muted. Now,
Okay.
your 10 minutes starts now.
Good morning, my name is Kento. Hi, my name is Chris. Hi, I'm Petty, and we are Team Beams. First of all, I'd like to start with some background information. So thank you for giving me the next slide. Please consider the diagrammatic representation of Thailand's waste management on the left-hand side. As you can see, out of 15.04 million tons of waste material, about 80% has the potential to be recycled and reused, but only 84% is properly collected. However, out of those 84%, 63% are improperly disposed, whereas only 22%, accounting for just 3.1 million tons, are actually recycled. This is mainly due to the permitted garbage disposal methods in Thailand, which are burying trash in landfills, producing biogas, burning for power generation, and manufacturing fuel from waste. Next slide, please. Currently, waste is used for energy generation, which is highly inefficient and also air polluting at the same time. Thailand has been consistently suffering from a surplus of waste materials for decades as a result of poorly designed and enforced waste management system. Next slide, please. So we have concluded the main problem of a bad waste management in Thailand to be a result of the following causes. The private sector does not sufficiently care about waste management, primarily because there's no real incentive to do so. According to an Ipsos poll conducted in May of 2011, the most common reason why people don't recycle is simply because of a lack of access or inconvenience. It's too inconvenient, it's too hard, and it doesn't make a difference. We're among the most common reasons why people choose not to care about waste management. Furthermore, there's not enough awareness about mismanagement of waste materials in modern society. Not caring about waste management is just so simple, and actively taking action takes a lot more effort for the individual. Next slide, please.
But we have a solution. Introducing Trash Trade. Next slide, please. Trash Trade is a web app that allows eco-entrepreneurs to pitch their projects and get funded by waste materials, such as plastic and cardboard, which can then be converted into raw materials. But why a web app? It's because web apps are so much cheaper to develop than a traditional app, while also being more accessible to the public, requiring no download whatsoever. Trash Trade is based on platforms like Kickstarter, an international crowdfunding platform, and has been supporting projects since 2009, and GEP, a Thai digital waste platform that helps companies manage their waste in a more sustainable way. In addition, Trash Trade also has an extra feature that matches users with potential partners and projects to collaborate with. Next slide, please. And because we want to make Trash Trade as accessible as possible for everyone, regardless of their financial situation, there is absolutely no participation cost for project founders. However, they can donate to us if they choose to do so. Next slide, please. Our aim is to create an innovative space for environmental-minded innovators and encourage them to incorporate the idea of circular thinking and sustainable waste management in their projects. Next slide, please.
So this is the first version of the website layout that we came up with. So each frame represents one single project. The creators of the project are listed on top of each frame, followed by a picture showing their idea. Inside that frame, a smaller frame gives a more explicit overview of the project. First, a title, followed by a short description. Below, there's an indication of how much waste materials have already been raised in kilograms out of a target mass that is set by the creators of the project. Lastly, the time indication next to the small clock in the bottom left corner shows the amount of time left to collect waste material for any given project. The sample projects shown on the screen are some possible ideas our team and many more friends from our school have come up with. I hope this gives you an insightful idea of what projects can and will look like. Next slide, please.
Trash trade promotes the idea of a circular economy, aligning with goal number 12, responsible consumption and production, while encouraging partnerships between the 16 Sustainable Development Goals, aligning with goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. We want to promote diversity of project ideas and encourage innovators to incorporate the idea of sustainable waste management to work on their SDGs. So as more entrepreneurs join the trash trade community, more SDGs will be supported, scaling with the platform. This means that trash trade has the potential to cover every single sustainable development goal. Next slide, please.
Finances for trash trade is simple, as it is based on a virtual online platform. We will need a domain name for our web app, which will cost 420 baht per year on Google Domains. Hosting the website will cost 1,872 baht, which will be done on Python Anywhere, a web hosting service based on the Python programming language. By hosting the website ourselves, we are able to keep the cost down rather than using a website building service such as Wix, which will set us back around 3,000 baht per year. The transfer cost will be initially covered by trash trade, while continuing projects will be covered by each individual project owner. Advertisements for trash trade will be hosted on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. Therefore, the cost for these ads will vary on a case-by-case basis. Next slide, please. So this is our implementation timeline. In the first month, the web app for trash trade is developed. By the third month, the platform will be beta tested by several international schools in Bangkok. Additionally, potential partners and sponsors will also be contacted. Within the end of the fourth month, the platform will be improved based on feedback from beta testers. In the fifth month, trash trade will be fully released to the public within Bangkok. In the sixth month, we plan to host our first virtual competition on our platform. By the end of the sixth month, we will look at our progress while polishing the platform and look to release to other regions. In conclusion, the entire implementation process for trash trade takes only 6 months and at the same time is very cost efficient. The reason we are able to create and implement this platform in such a short time frame is because all of our members have previous coding experience, and some of our members have led the development of similar projects to trash trade in the past. Next slide, please. With consideration to application in post-pandemic society, the online status of our project means minimal physical contact for participants and sponsors, where social distancing rules are applied correctly. Additionally, there will also be minimal maintenance involved, where the process of trading trash can be done in a few simple steps. With social distancing, people will have more time on their hands. Therefore, we want to encourage this time to be spent productively on creative products. Next slide, please. For future development, the trash trade community can grow even bigger with expansion into more areas such as Phuket, Chiang Mai, or even overseas, with the inclusion of more international schools, local schools, colleges, and communities. We also hope that the inclusion of these projects in these communities will help to create more jobs.
This concludes our presentation. We thank the honorable judges for your time and attention. We hope that our ambitions and ideas can create a platform that allows creative minds from all over the world to realize eco-friendly projects and collaboratively strengthen the foundations of a sustainable society. After all, we're Team Beams. We're now looking forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow, you've done quite a good timing. So let's now proceed on to the Q&A session. All right, so I'm sure our judges have a lot of questions regarding this project, and so who will be our first honor?
I'll go.
Okay, please.
So very interesting proposal. I just want to ask a question to make sure I understand how this would work. You create the website, someone who has an idea for a project puts it up on the website, and then individuals come and they crowdfund it. So the community members, they pitch in money, and then once you've got enough money, then the person who pitched the project gets to run it, gets to go and do it, right? If I understood correctly, you're not going to charge people to use the site, so how would you make it financially sustainable?
So I will answer this. So our total project cost is around 2,292 baht per year, and we hope to cover this cost by fundraising. And with past fundraising experience, we've estimated that it only really takes one fundraiser to get these operating costs and extra costs that we gain from these fundraisers will be used to improve our trash trade service.
Thank you. I would just consider the possibility of having a small fee on these, because if you grow this large and you have to have a support team, that will make it much easier for it to be sustainable. But I get the idea of trying to keep it as small, as inexpensive or free if possible. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next question is from Mr. Yusuke.
Thank you for the very interesting presentation. I think the idea like this would work only if there's enough demand for recyclable waste, but for some reasons, those recyclable wastes are not being gathered in sort of sufficient quantity to make it worthwhile for whoever is trying to recycle the material. So in your study, did you look into those gaps in demand and supply in the waste for some of the materials that you listed in the example web page, like masks and other waste? I hope my question was clear.
Yes, so we did look into the demand and supply of these materials. And the main problem that Thailand has right now is, although there are essentially trash cans color-coded by what materials are recyclable and not, people aren't necessarily following the guidelines put by the government and are not putting these trash materials in the right place. So we first thought that we need to first begin with how we should trash things properly, if that makes sense.
Sorry, just a follow-up question, maybe clarification. Just using an example of masks, surgical masks, just because you used it as a sort of example. The idea is to use the app to collect surgical masks in volume so that people who want to recycle it or who has an idea to use surgical masks can use it. That's the purpose of the app. Is that correct?
Oh, no, sorry. So the surgical mask is the project itself, and we will collect materials that are needed to make that surgical mask. So like instead of, for example, Kickstarter, which uses money as capital, we'll be using recycled materials as capital to produce these masks. So how we would do this is we collect the materials on our crowdfunding platform, and we will send it off to recycling companies, which will then produce the materials needed to make the mask. And we will send off the materials to make the mask to the original founder of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to conclude the session. Does anyone have any more question for this team?
I have one more question.
Okay.
So I just like to know that who will be involved, for example, your stakeholder that you will work with.
Sorry, may you repeat the question, please? The audio was cut off.
I said that the target or the stakeholder that will be involved for this project. So who is your target working group?
So our first target is international school students within Bangkok, and we plan to, as our project progresses, we plan to expand more and go to other international schools around the area, where there are some in Chiang Mai or Phuket. And if the crowdfunding platform is successful enough, we also plan to expand to surrounding countries such as Myanmar and Laos.
All right. Thank you very much. And that will be the last question. So thank you, Team Beams and the Trash Trade Project. We are looking forward to see this. Well, even, I don't know, I can't say for the judges, but if this project gets to go on, whether you win this or not, I do hope that they continue with this. I really like this project personally. So good luck and thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right then, and that is our second team for waste management and medical waste project. And so this topic, we also have the last finalist, which is the team called For Change. And now we have the team members are here already, like with us. So we'll have this last team. They'll be talking about the plastic waste, or well, let's see. Let's hear from them. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right then. So the stage is yours. 10 minutes presentation starts now.
So I'm Fang, and along with my teammate Quinn, Mo, and Bob, we're doing a project that looks at the waste and management and how the COVID-19 impacts it. So, Thailand is one of the biggest plastic waste contributors, actually top 5 in Southeast Asia. And in January, Thailand placed a ban on the single-use plastic and was looking. Wait, and I think I need to turn on my camera. I need to go to setting. Sorry. Oh, so in the outbreak of COVID-19 in Thailand, the government was declared an emergency situation that people have to work from home, resulting in more delivery orders such as Food Panda, Lineman, GrabFood. And however, during the outbreak of COVID-19, the amount of waste delivered is expected to increase by 15%, which means that the COVID period has produced over 280 million waste from just food delivery. And in addition to that, there was also a medical waste that was 1.5 million pieces per day. But the COVID-19 pandemic has a huge result on the back that according to the Thailand Environment Institute, the TEI, the average amount of plastic waste went from 2,000 tons per day to 3,000 tons per day between January and April this year. And alone in April, the rise in the month was over 62%. So the COVID-19 crisis led us to many changes in daily life, and people need to stay in the house. Many restaurants and shops are forced to close down, so delivery service has become more popular. The amount of waste from human consumption has increased rapidly. In Thailand, the waste from food service consists of plastic bags, plastic boxes, and many single-use plastics, such as fork and spoons. This increased the total amount of plastic waste in a year by over 30%. And most of them are contaminated with food waste, and they aren't taken care properly, so it ends up going to landfills.
Excuse me. You have to unmute yourself first before continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. So the aim of our project is to persuade major delivery platforms in Thailand to adopt environmentally friendlier materials for food packaging in order for them to be recognized as being environmentally responsible. So in order to do this, we have to present them with possible suppliers that can replace the plastics they currently use. These suppliers will supply them with biodegradable packagings that are capable of being manufactured on a large scale. And we have to convince these delivery companies such as Food Panda and Grab that this transition will be a smooth transition, and obviously there will be a positive impact on the Thai community because we will use biodegradable packaging which can be recycled and will solve the problem of waste management. Next slide, please. So the benefits of this project, the first one is mainly because it's a win-win solution where all parties involved get to collaborate and no one has anything to lose from this project. Companies that adopt this project will achieve the environmental goals, also known as corporate social responsibility. Consumers will acknowledge that these companies that have taken part into this transition will acknowledge that these companies are taking a step towards solving this problem and Thailand will also benefit from reduced plastics and waste generated. Suppliers of this project can earn a steady income, and it is a long-term solution that will solve the current waste management problems with or without COVID-19. Since it's a win-win cooperation, there's an increased likelihood that this project can be implemented in real life. Next slide, please. Before thinking about the idea of this project, we have also taken other methods, such as making an app, into consideration, but we have decided that making an app would have to come after we implement this project, as an app is basically there to increase the awareness amongst Thai people. We, the For Change team, would like to address the heart of this issue, which is the distribution of plastic packaging used by delivery companies and restaurants. It tackles a range of problems and is obviously an essential first step that must occur in Thailand. Next slide, please.
So one of the solutions that we came up with is to use a biodegradable plastic bag. From a typical degradation time of 450 years, biodegradable plastic bag takes only 4 months to degrade. Next slide, please. And how the benefits is biodegradable plastic bag made from cassava. Biodegradable properties compared to bioplastics. If in a normal plastic bag, it will degrade within 3 to 4 months, and the higher it is in forest, the more degradable. To decompose naturally, break through in the soil is beneficial to plants.
Here's another example of the capability of our suppliers that we have done some research into, which is the beverage carton recycling. It basically involving reusable and recyclable boxes. This is basically an example of the capabilities of Thai institutes that can provide the companies, food companies, with a reliable source of biodegradable packaging. For example, the plastic and aluminum, they can be used to make an eco roof. This has been previously implemented and can be implemented again, but for food delivery packaging instead. Next slide, please. Here's just an image on the recent projects that they have done and how they can adapt to our project as well. Next slide, please. above are the two examples of, sorry, previous slide. Just now that we have shown are two examples of the capabilities of the MTEC, NSTDA, and EGAT, and other tied development agencies that can be used as possible suppliers. They might not be possible suppliers for our project, but they are one of a few suppliers that we have researched on. These technologies that existed can be advanced further through widespread usage of these existing biodegradable technologies. With sufficient capable suppliers to replace plastic packaging currently used, results in a higher certainty that this project can be implemented in real life. Next slide, please.
So the SDG address for this is responsible consumption and production, climate action, and life on land. So as we plan for a first week, we will start discussing about the topic and solution, and then plan, choose final solution, start putting on the solution together into presentation, finding for supplier that can provide us biodegradable products, and then contracting delivery platform about our biodegradable products, and then delivery platform fully switches to biodegradable products. Next slide, please. Next slide. So finances. First, we use fund from SDG prizes money that will be used to do the following. Substantial fund will be required to create a powerful impression to persuade at major delivery platforms. Significant portions of the fund will be used to conduct further research on the possible suppliers and biodegradable material manufacturers and link them with delivery platforms. Next slide. How can it be applied? The application in the post-pandemic society, there are myriads of ways that we can do to help and solve this problem in our daily life after the pandemic. For instance, using plastic bags, plastic straw, plastic utensils, and other products that are made from plastics.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but we're going over time right now. So your 10 minutes presentation is up, but you can also clarify these details in the questions and answer session as well. You have 5 minutes in the question and answer. So on the points that you haven't clarified yet, so if you can integrate it with the questions, so we'll try to see if it fits, okay? So now it's time for the judges to ask the questions. So do we have the first questions from anyone?
Yeah, may I ask a question?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So first will be Ms. Suksawa, and then the second question will be from Mr. Yusuke. Yes.
So the question is, their product, their activity or their project is about using biodegradable bag and introduced through the food delivery, right? So I just want to know that did you have done any research that beside the periods of time for degrade, have you done any more research that you know about the price of biodegradable bag is higher, and in this case how you're going to convince the vendor or the food delivery to use the biodegradable bag, because the issue is also about the price and about the manufacturer. How about in case it's not based in Thailand or is based in China, so how you're going to convince them? And yeah, is there any method that do you think that can help to introduce to them because the price is higher?
Yes. Yes, of course. In order to convince these companies, we must know that these
there are many major delivery platforms and they're competing against each other. For example, if like, let's say Grab has an advantage over Food Panda because the users know that they use biodegradable bags. So the users will pick Grab over Food Panda because they know that this company is sustainable in terms of environmentally sustainable, and thus will it is a win-win situation for both the suppliers and the food companies.
So in term of the price, we can manage that. Maybe if the user selects that they don't want plastic or they prefer biodegradable plastic, they might get like a % off. So the user will choose the company that have more options to non-plastic or biodegradable plastic use.
Thank you very much. Now the second question, please.
My question was also about the pricing of biodegradable. So so I guess you already responded, but just a quick comment on the presentation. I think you are focusing on delivery companies like Food Panda or other companies, but I think it is restaurants that are more important. Delivery companies are just agents that are delivering whatever is being produced by restaurants and other retail. So I think that distinction is important.
Yes, perhaps we were
Thank you
hoping
so
that
much.
we were perhaps hoping that once food delivery companies have admitted to the change, they can convince their restaurants to do the same change as them, as they can. The food delivery companies has the power over restaurants, many restaurants, to change or not to change. So convincing food delivery companies can also, also allows food delivery companies to enact this change on smaller restaurants at the same time.
All right, thank you. We do have time. I will allow you to have one more question. If the judge have any other questions, so please ask away.
I'll go really quick. The goal is just to change out the bags for delivery services. Is that correct? Because there's a lot of other plastic typically in food delivery.
We aren't just planning to change the plastic bags, but all packagings involved, such as cutlery, spoons and forks, knives, and like the packaging themselves, like the boxes, containers for foods. And as we've shown earlier in our presentation, the suppliers are capable of producing and manufacturing these biodegradable containers on a large scale.
And just a follow-on to the question about the cost, is how would you go about validating that customers are willing to pay that additional cost?
Fran, would you like to answer this question?
Sorry, what was the question?
I asked if the how you would go about validating that customers are willing to pay the additional cost for the packaging.
I think that depends on how we gonna try to make the customer realize that, like, maybe if they go for the biodegradable or choose not to use plastic, I think it's the restaurant and delivering services that can do the job to maybe make some price like discount for if you choose not to, or you can choose the restaurant that support the plastic use decrease.
Thank you.
Right then. Thank you so much, Team for Change, for your presentation and the Q&A session. And you're the last team in this finalist round of the Youth for SDGs environment and the pandemic edition. And that will be all. So thank you so much for joining. Looking forward to hear the good news from you. All right. So now we have covered all the presentation across the 3 topics. So wow, what a journey we've been through for the half a day. We've learned about the challenges and the things we are trying to create the change. The project from all the finalists are really amazing and in different areas. So it's going to be really difficult for our judges to decide who's going to be the winner for each topic. So, well, I'd like to thank you everyone for joining. And we do hope that you'll stay tuned with us when the result is out tonight on Youth for SDGs social media. Okay, so for up until now, we really, really appreciate everyone who's staying with us until now. All the viewers, all the participants, and honorable judges as well. Today, we've been just doing a small part in creating the change. And all participants, you are the important part. So I'd like you to be proud of yourself for being here with us today. And just remember, there will only be one winner for each category, but every project can proceed on. You can also start, if you really believe in your idea, I really encourage, and we all encourage you to continue with your project. So let's stay tuned who's gonna be the winner for tonight, because we all have the special gifts and the special session for all the winners. Okay, so before we conclude today's session, I would actually combine all the judges' comments for all of you. And so I think every comments will be out tonight as well. So we'll ask the judges for all the comments, like overview of every team, and we'll pass on the message to you, all the participants. And so I think it is a good time for us to bid farewell. So let's say, please stay tuned and stay connected. The following social medias are on the screen, so please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and website Youth for SDGs. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being a part of Youth for SDGs Environment and Pandemic Edition.